Do you know the difference between a bloke and a punter? What about daft and cheeky? Hi everybody and welcome back to Lean English. I'm Ed and I'm here to help you achieve your pronunciation goals. In today's video I'm going to teach you some essential British slang words and how to pronounce them. So let's take a look in a bit more detail. A mate is a friend and it's frequently used to address people. For example, have you got the time, mate? Just remember that this is only appropriate in informal situations, so you should avoid using mate to address your boss or teacher. Cheers is an expression we use before we have an alcoholic drink, but it can also mean thanks. For example, cheers for helping me move house. Another word for an alcoholic drink is booze. For example, there was lots of free booze at the wedding reception. After drinking some booze, you might feel tipsy, which means slightly drunk. For example, the wine at church always makes me a little tipsy. If you drink a lot of booze, eventually you'll get pissed, which means drunk. For example, Stacy got pissed at the Christmas party. Note that this word may be considered rude or offensive by some people. There are lots of other slang phrases which contain the word piss, such as piss off, piss around, and take the piss, so try not to get confused. Banter is a funny conversation which often features playful teasing and joking. For example, John's new girlfriend has a good sense of humour and great banter. After a long day at work, you might feel knackered, which means tired or exhausted. For example, I'm knackered, I hardly slept last night. Remember that the letter K is silent when followed by the letter N at the beginning of words. A snog is a big long kiss on the lips, the type that may be considered inappropriate in public. Snog can also be used as a verb. For example, the teenagers were snogging in the back row of the cinema. People often snog when they shag, which means to have sex. For example, Rachel divorced Paul when she caught him shagging the next door neighbour. Note that this word may be considered rude or offensive by some people. Gutted means extremely disappointed. For example, I was gutted when I found out I failed the exam. Note that this word may be pronounced gutted in accents which lack the foot strut split, such as in the north of England. Bloke is just another word for a man. For example, I sold my car to a bloke I met in the pub. In contrast, a lad is a boy or a young man. For example, a group of lads were hanging around outside the shop. If you're skint, it means you're broke and you have no money. For example, I can't afford to go out this weekend, I'm skint. Dodgy can mean dishonest, risky, suspicious, or unreliable. For example, I received a dodgy email that said I'd won £1 million in a competition. Quid is another word for pound sterling, the currency of the UK. For example, I found 10 quid on the floor. Note that the singular and plural forms of this word are exactly the same. A punter or punter in the north of England is another word for a gambler, but it can be used to describe any customer or client. For example, the pub serves lots of punters during the Christmas period. To nick something means to steal something. For example, someone nicked my phone on the tube. To nick can also mean to arrest, and it's also a slang term for prison, so you may hear other phrases which contain this word. Bloody or bloody in the north usually describes something which is covered in blood. However, it can also be used to emphasize something or express anger. For example, my guard dog was bloody useless when my house was burgled. Mug or mug usually refers to a cup, but it's also a slang term for a stupid person. For example, that mug lost all his money gambling. Lots of other words and phrases contain mug, which I explained in a previous video. Daft means silly or stupid. For example, going hiking without a map was a daft idea. Note that this word may be pronounced daft in accents which lack the trap-bath split, such as in the north of England. And finally, cheeky means disrespectful but in a funny way, such as when someone is intentionally rude as a joke. For example, the cheeky boy stole one of his friend's chips when he wasn't looking. Well, that's the end of the lesson, but do you know any more British slang? Leave me some examples in the comments below, and remember to like and subscribe for more videos in the future. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.